Welcome back to PaintTutor. In this clip I'll show you the meaning of some of the options. Let's click on options. There we go. I think most people most of the time would like to try out different palettes, so the paint or the color palette can be selected here. In future versions we want to give everyone the ability to put together their own palette. Right now we just have some set ones. Let's swap over to 10 colors just to see how that works. Once you apply, it should come back with a whole new range of colors. As before, once you hover over a color, it comes up and tells you that's a burnt sienna, pyrrole red, quinacridone magenta, and so on. Well, going back to the options, let's go through them systematically. First of all, there's the illuminant here, which is D65. I don't think you'd want to change this in the beginning. It simply says that the light that's assumed to fall on the paint and that the display is trying to get to you in the most correct way possible is midday bright sunlight. In future we'd like to have evening lighting conditions, so tungsten lighting or more yellow lighting and so on. At the moment just stick with D65. The RGB color space, again this is a technical one. This is just to do with the representation of colors by the computer, and sRGB is a widely used standard. It doesn't have such a wide color range, but it's so widely used that it's probably the safest one to pick for trying to do this on the web. The lightness of the palette background, it goes, you might remember lightness runs from 0 to 100 in the lab scale, so 50 is a mid-gray and 100 is a pure white. You can pick whichever you want there. We picked the default 50, which looks pretty boring, mostly because it makes it easier to match hues and tones by eye. Showing percentages, we don't need to have percentages all over the screen all the time, so if you unclick that, let's apply and see what happens. If we auto solve the target, then what you should see come up now is just all the colors. The sizes give you an idea of how much you have of that color, but there's no explicit number there to obscure your view. Going back to options, put the percentages back on. We've talked about the color palette, comparison metric. These are just, as I mentioned earlier on, formulas that color scientists devised to measure color differences. There was one in 76, another in 94, another in 2000. They meant to be getting better all the time, so if you prefer you can pick 2000. The cutoff, well, normally a difference of 1, color difference of 1 in these metrics is meant to be very difficult or impossible to see by eye. If you make the cutoffs higher, then the computer matching will become much rougher. Auto solving new targets, well, that's pretty much what it says. It probably slows things down a little bit, but it does mean that each time you pick a new color strip, you'll get them all solved the moment they come up. I think the last one to talk about is probably the color space and the L levels. This is to do with a color space display in Picker. What we've tried to do is have a Munsell like display where the steps in each direction are fairly constant perceptually. Because these color difference formulas are all different, it means that when you do these constant steps you get to different colors, and so the spaces look somewhat different, and we've pre-programmed a few of those. The lightness levels are preset to 11. You can pretty much pick what you want. It just means that you get finer and finer levels of lightness distinction in the color space display. Well, that's it for the introductory videos or clips for PaintTutor. Thanks very much for watching.